has entered the chat.
Yes.
He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. We're in the PNC Bank studio. We got a packed show for you guys today.
Damn right we do.
Belichick with another deal he got coming through. Matt Judon of the Patriots saga, that continues. But Davon Godchaux. Now I'm just blanking out on how to say his name altogether.
Davon Godchaux.
Thank you. Got it third time's right. He agreed on a new deal. So what does that mean for Judon moving forward? And is it time to panic about Drake Maye? We'll get to all that and more right here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Please, if you're listening, like, subscribe, rate, review, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. If you're watching on Nesson's YouTube or Twitch, hit the subscribe button as well. You can email us to thechat@nesson.com. Trav, how we doing today before we get into what's trending?
I'm doing great. I'm happy for Bill Belichick.
I'm happy to what's trending.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I'm happy for Belichick. I'm happy for some Patriots getting paid. Others, not so much. But, I feel like even that is coming to a head at some point. We'll talk about that as well. I'm just happy to be here with you, GB.
Same as always. All right, let's get into it. Bill Belichick, he's joining Underdog Fantasy to create and co-produce a new football show. It'll debut this upcoming season. It'll feature Belichick breaking down film week to week, taking fans through the process as if he was coaching a team and giving them a peel back. I hear this. I think this is dope. To me, it's like for football nerds like myself that love the game. I'll tune in. I'm going to check it out. It has me. And if you just think about what this is overall for Belichick, he's going on the McAfee show once a week. He's going to be on Manning Cast.
That's right.
He's going to be on Inside the NFL once a week as well. Now he's doing this stuff with Underdog. He's making sure that he is connected and involved to the modern game.
Bingo.
Because like Aaron Boone did it, like J.J. Redick did it.
Bingo.
Belichick, even though he's not coaching
Steve
and he's
Kerr.
not even on a staff,
Yep.
but he's showing that he's around the game and he's present. Because like I said, he should have taken that San Francisco 49ers DC job.
God,
but no
stop.
matter what, those Eagles, those Cowboys,
Right.
they're going to come calling, hey, Bill, we've seen what you've been doing with that film work.
That's right.
That's the audition. Just bring the rings over here and let's go.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an audition because of who he is, but it definitely is without being a real audition, right? You're keeping your tape fresh. This happens in our industry too, George. Like when you're out of a job, and you're trying to get a new job from a new employer, the first thing they want to see is your tape, and they want to see that it's up to date. They don't want to see us talking about something that happened in 2006. They're going to be like, well, this isn't going to work. They want to see you talking about current things, and that's what Bill Belichick is doing. No one's going to watch that show in the CW. Everyone's going to watch the Manning Cast stuff, the McAfee stuff, and I think people that care about Bill Belichick or are fans of Bill Belichick will check for this Underdog Fantasy stuff that he's doing. I will not be one of them, but I'm happy that I could care less, but I'm happy for Bill that he's staying in the game. And we've talked about this too. It's not like he can't coach. I don't think anyone thinks that. The issues with Bill Belichick, which I hope he's doing some self-reflection stuff, some work on, is you as a GM is absolutely terrible. Like you can't
on the
GM.
Offensive side.
That's got to be done.
He could draft defense.
Sure. But just him as a GM, period. If you're only doing one side, that's not good enough, right?
No, I agree.
So him having player personnel power needs to go away. And he's got to be okay with that, A. B, I do think he'll have to prove that he can still relate to the modern-day player. I know his dating choices would suggest that he can do that. But, at some point, he's going to have to interview for a job, and that's going to come up. If he can work on himself and humble himself in a lot of ways for those few things, he's going to show you the genius of Bill Belichick and what we're talking about here. This Underdog Fantasy? This Underdog Fantasy stuff, he's going to show you breaking down film. This player should have did this on this play. This player should have lined up here. That's his brilliance. That's his God-given gifts. He's leaning into that. I think it's brilliant and genius on his part.
If he wants to be a head coach again, he has to show that he can let go of the front office, but he can help on the defensive side. And he has to show he can actually build out a coaching staff. It can't be Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, and Josh McDaniels again because his staffs have gotten smaller, they've gotten older, they've gotten more stuck in the past. He has to actually be open to hiring new assistants, letting them do their job, and just delegating because he didn't do that towards the end of his tenure in New England.
Right.
And that's what left Bill O'Brien out to dry, and that's what ruined Mac Jones along with the roster and this franchise and led them rock bottom. Then it gets into all that, but it starts with the front office stuff. This, no matter what, will be cool. still the greatest head coach of all time, no matter what he ended up with towards the end of his tenure in New England. Now, speaking of the Patriots, and there are guys that Belichick brought in to play on defense like Devon Godshaw, who has been great.
Yes.
The Pats and Godshaw agreed to a 2-year, $21 million extension, $16.5 million guaranteed. This one is significant because while Matt Judon was showing up in pants and sneakers and getting animated and walking out on practice and getting animated with Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh, Devon Godshaw was on the field, not fully participating, but his agent Drew Rosenhaus was up with the family and friends getting stuff done. And this was another player that came out just like Judon, and he said, hey, you want to get to third down? We talk about how good this defense is. What I do on first and second down is what gets us there. And I'm looking at guys like Dalvin Tomlinson and Grover Stewart, exact names he dropped. And he said, I want to get paid like that because of my impact on the defense. Grover Stewart, $17.9 million guaranteed. Dalvin Tomlinson, $27.5 million guaranteed. Both longer contracts.
That's right.
But based off guaranteed money, Godshaw is making a higher AAV than both based off just guaranteed money. But this is a big deal to get done. Another core guy brought back.
Preaching. You and I talked about this on Foxborough Rush, which you can check out on Nesson's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wherever you get your podcast. Also, make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content as well. But what we talked about was, the route Matthew Judon was taking, not the best route. And I even told you that I felt as though because of that route that he took, it could cost him a contract. What were we saying about both of these guys? Short term, cash heavy. Get it done.
Yeah.
They'll be happy. Then you can figure it out in 2 years from now or whatever it is. In Judon's case, you probably let him walk at that point because he's too old, at least for what the Patriots want to do. This is the best way to do business. If I was a player, this is all I would look for anyways. I'd be the Kirk Cousins. I'd be the guy every 3 or 4 years I'd want to reset my contract. Now, you're gambling a little bit with your health. I understand that. Most of these dudes don't want to play that game in a violent sport that is football. They want the longevity. They want the job security. I understand that part as well. But this deal, 2 years, 21 mil, 16.5 guaranteed, perfecto. And you know what? Then 2 years from now, you could sit down at the table. If he's outperformed this contract, you have another conversation. If he hasn't, you offer him something similar. If not, you let him move. Or if you before the contract even comes up, you feel like you don't want to keep him, you could shop him on the open market. This is how business is done. This is a win-win for both parties, the Patriots and the player. I love it. Unfortunately, for Matthew Judon, I don't think this is going to go the same way because I believe we should be talking about 2 contracts being passed out right now by the Patriots. They got both of these deals done. Short term, a lot of cash up front. 2 players are happy. Instead, we're just talking about 1.
And that's what gets to where we are at with Judon. I mean, and for Godshaw, like Judon showed up, was a full participant off the bat. When the pads came on, he stepped back and he said, look, I'm not getting $1 until week 1 rolls around, so I'm not practicing until you paid me. They got him more guaranteed money. They got him security. That's what these guys want.
That's right.
And Godshaw is now lined up when he's 31, 32 to get another short-term 2-year deal, and maybe same thing, guaranteed money around a similar number, and he could look at making 30 to 35 million over the next 4 years, all guaranteed money. That's what's important. So the latest in Matt Judon, as of the recording of this podcast, day off in training camp for the Patriots, as of the recording of this, Boston has entered the chat. No progress, actual progress has been made between Matt Judon and the New England Patriots. But reports came out today from Diana Rossini of The Athletic. Her first tweet, Matthew Judon was absent from yesterday's practice because he seeks a revised contract. Since then, the Patriots have made an offer, per source. This could help move things in the right direction.
Okay.
This could help move things in the right direction. That source right there, that line, that's from the team. That's a team source. And that's how she makes a living, and that's how she's gone to ESPN and The Athletic, so I'm not knocking her. But you just have to understand who the source is. This could help move things in the right direction. These are the Patriots coming out and saying, we gave him a contract offer. He didn't show up. We went to him, hey, Matt, let's talk, and let's open something up. She then followed up with another tweet. Matthew Judon was offered a few revised contracts from New England before training camp. They have to agree on a rework deal. So now it's again the Patriots going, we offered them stuff before.
That's right.
We offered them stuff as of right up to this moment. But as Mike Giardi reported, a local Boston guy, he said they're very far apart. Now, that's something from Judon's camp.
That's right.
Because the Patriots don't want that narrative out of we're not even close. Because then the fans are like, what the heck are you doing? Judon's camp is letting him know it's not close to his value. Then Matt Judon tweeted. Because someone put out, please, Patriots, make an offer, make it happen. Matt Judon replied to that, no, they haven't, but it makes me look bad again. Don't believe the lies. Basically, the lies of this could help move things in the right direction, or we're making offers, or making progress, because these reports make the pressure go on Matt Judon, make him seem like the bad guy. Now, you could have your opinion on what he did the first day of padded practice, where he's sulking around, sitting on garbage cans, showing up Drake Maye, showing up Elliott Wolf, showing up his teammates, and making a scene and making it dramatic. But no matter what, now it's getting closer and closer to, okay, there are offers, they are talking. Is there progress? No, but there are developments and updates to this whole situation. And now it's a question of how far apart they are, because we still don't know that, but we know Matt Judon still isn't happy. He also did post on his Instagram, like a random picture on his Instagram story. Looked like he was probably playing NCAA football, but that was posted yesterday. You're absent? Did he say I'm not going? Or did the Patriots tell him to stay home? By the sounds of it, it sounds like he didn't want to go, and he's just like not showing up until there's a new actual deal floated out there to be agreed upon.
I'm not going to lie. Staying at home playing college does sound like a nice game plan, though. You know what I mean?
Not going to tear an ACL doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game plan. Look, this is a mess. It's just a mess. I've been saying this. I'm going to continue to say this. You have to trade him. He's got to go. It's too much of a distraction. Now I sound like Bill Belichick, right? It's too much of a distraction. It's not getting better. The Patriots are saying one thing. The players saying another. It's just a mess. Get them out of here. You have too many young players on this roster who are impressionable right now, and you just can't play these games. You can't. You've already let Matthew Judon get away with too much. Now, on one hand, I sound like I'm pro-Patriots stance here. That's because where we are now, I am. But all along the way, all along this long, windy, drama-filled path, I said, just pay the guy. You're paying everyone else. He's watching teammates get paid. You got the funds. You got the ends. Give it to them. They wouldn't do it. Some of me, too. This is why the franchise tag exists. And I know it's too late for all that. But I'm just saying, I always felt like, and I know players complain about it because it's like weaponized against them in a way. They're looking for a long-term deal.
Yeah, they want that long-term guaranteed
you franchise
over
them.
Years.
Right. So I understand why the player doesn't love it. But sometimes it is beneficial to both parties. And I've always said this. If you had let's just go back in time. If you had franchised Matthew Judon, he's paid what he wants automatically. Not over years, but in terms of being paid in the top percentile of the league at his position, boom, just like that, he gets it. So if nothing else, it does sort of curtail a lot of the things we're seeing now. The lashing out, what do they say, animated conversations with Elliott Wolf and Drake Maye on the sideline, and all the tweets and all the nonsense, the podcast he's going on, except ours. Matthew Judon, again, I extend the invite to you. Come talk to me and George, please. We would love to ask you questions. But you skip all that stuff if you franchise tag the player. And then on the team side, you're not locked into a long-term deal, which is clearly, I am convinced, without even being there, that's the issue here. I really am. I think they are probably showing him at least in the neighborhood of what he wants money-wise. I am telling you, George, there is no way he's making all this stink over nothing. It's got to be, the money's not quite where he wants, but I think it's the years. I really do.
He's due just around $7 to $8 million this year.
That's not enough.
He said it. Seeing other guys get paid.
Yes.
Seeing guys in his locker room
He's
get paid.
right.
And now let's go through it. Devon Gottschall.
He's right.
Jabril Peppers.
Barmore.
Christian Barmore. Mike Onwenu. Ramondre Stevenson.
You said Peppers,
Kyle
right?
Duggar.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
Yep.
7 guys got an extension.
Yep.
And 7 guys, some that will be here when they're a playoff team, and some that will not be.
Facts.
So that's where he sees all this going around. And he decided to stay at home before the Gottschall contract came down. Now, maybe it's this gets done, Patriots can focus on him. What I'm wondering is, what do you want for Matt Judon? In guaranteed money. 15 and a half to 17 million a year. That puts you in, the Hassan Reddick range,
Fine.
who also is holding out himself.
Yeah.
Or looking at Jonathan Greenard, 38 million guaranteed, but he's making $9.5 million in guaranteed money per year because it was a 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
But that guy's 27 years old.
Yeah.
Matt Judon's 32.
That's right.
When he's on the field, he's healthy. And let's think about the injury too, because everyone's going, well, he's missing games. Torn biceps, not a leg injury.
Yeah,
you can come back from
fine.
that
Absolutely.
and be fine.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's not like it's an Achilles, an
Right.
ACL, an MCL,
That's
anything
right.
like that. It is something that you can come back and be an impact guy right away.
Yes.
It's a matter on how much do you want, how much do the Patriots value him, what does he mean to the culture? Mm-hmm. We know what he means to the football team because it was the same thing. Guys have come on. Ramondre Stevenson spoke about the leader that Matt Judon is recently. We know Juwan Bentley did the same thing. Everyone knows how important he is to this defense because you lose him, you're without your two best players. We don't know when Christian Barmore is going to be back. We don't know when Matt Judon is going to be back. But that's what I'm trying to think. Is it $17 million a year for a 3-year deal, but really only 2 real years? So is it that $28 million guaranteed over the next 3 years, and then the third year's an out year?
Right.
He doesn't catch against the dead cap. And then at that point, what helps with the Patriots as well, if you get him on a multi-year deal right now, and if you do want to trade him, get him on that multi-year deal, and he has more trade value to a team because he's not a rental. If he goes to a Detroit, if he goes to a Chicago, if he goes to a team like Arizona, which way is a team on the either side of the spectrum there. But what's big in all this, and we said it on Rush as well, this is the first big test for Drake Maye because you went out and you said, let the guys be the guys. And now you have Drake Maye testing you. You have Matt Judon testing you, Drake Maye.
That's right.
What can I get away with? How much can I be a distraction? What can I do in the facilities? Because he went from showing up, participating, to not even being in Gillette at Foxborough at all.
Exactly.
And it's what can you get away with? Because then other guys, when they're up, they go, I'm just going to do what Judon did, and then I'll get paid. And there's the difference of, again, test. What was Bill Belichick? What was Drake Maye?
Yeah, I hear you with the sign him and then trade him because then you'd have maybe a little more value because he's not a rental and teams know you're not desperate to get rid of him. I'll be honest with you, George, and you're going to think I'm crazy. What else is new? I am. But we're past that point now. I don't – listen, if I'm in the Patriot – if I'm Elliott Wolf, I don't care. I can't say I don't care about value because I have to get something. But I'm going to call around, and I'm going to get the best I can, and I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to know damn well going into it when I pick up the phone, I am not getting – equal of or better than value than Matthew Judon. I'm going to already know it. But guess what? For the pain in the arse this is causing me, and the headache it's causing me, and the headache it's causing my new head coach who's trying to build a culture of allowing guys to be who they are, I can't have it, man. And so guess what? Sometimes I guess you do have to take a haircut a little bit, right? It's like, all right, well, I can only get a 5th-round pick. I'm just throwing this out. I can only get a 5th-round pick, but I get to send them to wherever. I got to make that move. And it's not going to be – I'm not going to sign him. There's already been enough back and forth and finger-pointing and contentiousness to where we probably couldn't agree on a deal anyways. Even if I wanted to trade him, we probably can't agree on a deal. We can't agree on anything right now. This is a divorce. This is not a rough patch. I believe this is a divorce.
The big fight that blows it up.
I think so. And by the way, this is why I actually personally flipped sides. I switched sides. I was on Matthew Judon's side the whole time. But just like in a big fight, just like in a divorce, if you got to pick sides, now I'm on the Patriots side because he handled it wrong. Just if you're going to show up and say you're going to show up and I'm not the bad guy and I want to be here, great. Zip it up after that and just go play. What we can't have is the wishy-washy, bro. We can't have you showing up saying all these things on day one and then with each passing day because you don't get your way, now you start acting out. I ain't with that. I don't like that. That's corny. Pick a lane. That's all I'm saying. I was on your side. But now, with the antics and the things, he can't find a microphone other than ours that he doesn't love to tell people how the Patriots are wrong. Now I'm like, all right, now I see the Patriots side of things. I think you got to get rid of him. You can't mess around.
I was fine with him day one of camp going, this is what I want, this is how it goes. Because I'll take the transparency from the athletes.
Yeah.
But him also going, I'm going to show up in practice. I'm going to show up and play because I'm under contract. It's when you full pads come on and you're going to sit around.
Right.
That's a tough part for me. But he came out and he said, look, I'm pissed off. And you know what changed between day one of him speaking to the media, of being a full participant, to him deciding to stay home on day 6? Yes. 2 contracts on the defensive side of the ball. And one of those happened before he got extended.
Yes.
But he's going, everyone's getting paid but me.
Right.
And I said it to you. Who's been their best player? Who's been the face of the franchise?
Facts.
Who's actually a guy that's a game wrecker, make impact plays?
He should already been
It's
paid.
Matt Judon. I wouldn't have shown up to full pads if I was him. That's his misstep. Now you're becoming a distraction, and now there's a question of culture, and you showing up a first-time head coach.
So you'd have came first day, said what you said, and then went home.
I would have shown up, and I would have keep showing up and do my thing behind the scenes.
Okay.
Then once Jabril Peppers gets paid, then I go, all right, I'm done.
Okay.
That's what changed to me.
Okay.
It's not like it was the same, and then he woke up one day and said, I'm not going.
Right.
Jabril got paid. Another core guy. Short-term deal. We don't know if he'll be here when they're serious again in 3 years. Same with Judon. Why am I not getting paid?
Right.
And what Jabril does on the back end, he can't get it done without me on the line of scrimmage.
I just still can't. Our only thing, because we really agree on this, which is rare for us. The only thing I still can't get from you that you see, I don't see how you see a happy ending here. Like, you think there's a way that they get this sign. You said to me today, like, this could happen today. I'm like, no, the hell it ain't.
I think it's tough to see the happy ending after he did what he did first full day of pads. Again.
Okay.
Showing up in street clothes, sweatpants, sneakers, getting animated with Gerard, sulking around on the practice field, leaving, coming back, talking to Elliot Wolf. And I'm fine with that. Like, have those difficult convos yourself. Like, Judon, hell yeah. Advocate for yourself.
It should be in private, though.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
It should be in private.
Because you have a first-time head coach.
Yeah.
And he's trying to establish, as he said, a foundation year.
Right.
And you are jeopardizing what that culture can be in the foundation year.
That's right.
And I've seen holdouts in the past work out for guys. I've seen holdouts in the past end up with them getting traded. Yeah. It's gone both ways with Patriots. We'll get into that.
Yep.
That was a misstep to me with Judon. Just don't show up. But now he's doing the right thing. Don't show up. You're being a distraction, but that's fine. It's a distraction because the team's allowing it to be a distraction. Second most cap space, pay the guy. But when he shows up and sulks around, that's when he becomes a distraction himself. So that's a difference to me.
What was the game plan? I would love to, in addition to extending this to Judon, I would love to talk to Elliot Wolf of like, what were you thinking here? Because I go back to like the franchise tag. I know I keep harping on that. If there was never the intention of giving Matthew Judon what he wants, let's for the sake of this conversation, let's say it's 3-4 year deal, right? Why wouldn't you just franchise him then? To ensure you don't have this, and he's going to be happy-ish because he'd get the cash for 1 year, and then you can figure it out. And then, by the way, in that scenario that I'm giving, George, he's 1 year older. What kind of season are we talking about? Did he get hurt again? Did he stay healthy, but he wasn't as productive in the second half of the season again? Because we've seen that from him. Let's not act like this guy's Lawrence Taylor, respectfully. Like, we've seen him, his production fall off in the second half of football seasons. That's actually kind of consistent with him. So my thinking is like, what was Elliot Wolf's game plan?
If they franchise tag him $21 million, that's a price on a defensive end this year. And we're talking 15 to 18 million.
Okay, then get the deal done, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I just wonder what was the, not Judon, take Judon out of it. What was the brain trust plan here?
We have a guy that we signed to a 4-year deal with $30 million guaranteed.
He's got a year left, though.
And we had a guy that held in last year. And when the way we got him to show up was, fine, we're going to take your year 4 money and bump it up to year 3.
Yes.
And he showed up. We did our part. Now you got to show up for year 4.
I don't know.
Where Elliot, it's a leverage play on both sides. It's business on both sides.
I don't like that move.
And this is,
of course, he's going to raise hell.
Elliot Wolf went after Calvin Ridley, struck out.
Yeah.
But now you know who your quarterback is. Now you know what your offensive coordinator is. You have a better picture of your entire roster and setup.
Right.
Now you're going for Brandon Ayuk. We'll see if they strike out there. Because this
you
is
think
a team
it's holding it? Okay.
down the road, a young, wide receiver one, clear receiver one like Ayuk, more valuable for the big picture than a 32-year-old edge rusher. That's a tough part because if Judon was 28, 29, this would all be done. You're 32. And this is when you look at the top guys getting paid I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Outside of Danielle Hunter, they're all 30 years old or younger.
Where would that so that franchise tag price, where would that put him in terms of
quick Google?
I mean, because now that's a higher number than I thought it would be.
So, if we're going, you know me, I only like the guaranteed money. Hold on.
I know, but just for the sake of the conversation, if he's at 21, I mean, that sounds like.
Let's say average a year, which isn't the true number because it's not guaranteed. That would put him just ahead of Trey Hendrickson, just below Bradley Chubb. But this is why I look at fully guaranteed.
I think that's
if
fair.
you get him from that 30 to 34 range, that's Bryce Huff.
No.
That's Kayvon Thibodeau.
No.
But that's Bryce Huff, 26. Kayvon Thibodeau, 24.
Yeah, and
you're 32.
They're also better. I'm not going to lie.
Judon over Thibodeau.
That kid, I don't know. That kid with
Huff
the Giants
is a specialist
is a dog.
with the Jets. We'll see what he is with the Eagles.
The kid with the Giants is a dog.
Kayvon Thibodeau's okay.
I like him.
He hasn't shown up consistently yet. Let's go over Rashawn Gary, 27.
Okay.
$34 million fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
And Rashawn Gary's more of an every down guy, a little more versatile, but not as polished as a pass rusher.
Right. I'm not going to lie. And younger, right? I'm not going to lie, bro.
That $21 million guaranteed in 1 year, if I'm going average year, then fine. I'll drop my stop being stubborn. That gets him just below Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Which is his value, but it's fully guaranteed. And then you're revisiting this again next year.
George,
and if you type $21 million to him and then Brandon Ayuk can happen, and then you have to manipulate the cap.
Yeah, but I don't know if they can play that game now.
All these guys
I don't know if they
bargains.
can play that game.
Godchall's still top 30 paid. He's not top 25.
Right.
On Wenu's top 5 range. No one's number 1. But they're in that top 10, top 5. They're in that range. And that's what the Patriots are looking for. They're looking for those hometown discounts.
I want to be clear here because I've switched sides. This is as definitive as I can be. The Patriots dropped the ball by not paying this guy already. Matthew Judon has an absolute – if I'm a judge, banging the gavel, case dismissed. He deserves this contract that he wants. He does. Patriots dropped the ball. They bleeped that up. Comma. They got to move Matthew Judon now. I'm now on the side of the Patriots. This has become an absolute mess. And now if you try to go back to the table with him, the Patriots, can't play hardball anymore. You can't stick to whatever deal he keeps saying, screw you, I'm not signing that, and tweeting out, it's all lies, they're trying to make me look bad. Don't put that in front of him anymore. Either give him what he wants and apologize and hug it out, and we got Matthew Judon, or you have to move him yesterday. It's that simple. I am now on the side of the Patriots. I think Judon should have been paid, but we are where we are, right? They got to move him.
I can't get past him showing up, no pads, and doing all that.
Right.
If it was just a straight holdout, it would be fine. Let's look at some of the holdouts in Patriots history. I picked out 3 different guys because they were at the top of their position.
All right.
Deion Branch held out after Super Bowl MVP, got traded to Seattle. That's fine. They can live without Deion Branch.
Yeah, he was trying to cash out.
Richard Seymour, 2005. He had 2 years left on his rookie deal.
I remember, yeah.
He got $1 million a year bump after that. Then after that season where he produced again, he got a 3-year, $30 million contract. A lot of money back then.
Well, he didn't really get paid till he went to the Raiders.
But that is a big we're talking 2006.
Right.
Again. So Asante Samuel didn't report until midway through the preseason. He didn't want the franchise tag. All pro in 2007. They agreed on a different deal. If you hit this amount of snaps, games played, you won't get franchised again.
Sure.
Went into free agency, got the bag from the Eagles, had a few good years for them, but really didn't amount to much. The last one, Stephon Gilmore. This is my first year covering the team. Never saw him practice a down with the Patriots, let alone play. After being a defensive player of the year, after being a Super Bowl champion, he held out. Started the season on the pup. Midway through the year, traded to Carolina for a 6th round pick. You should have got a better return. So there are 3 different scenarios. But you know what's consistent with all 3 of those guys?
What?
Bill Belichick was running the show. Not Elliott Wolf, not Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, I mean, they're showing a propensity to pay. They're just picking and choosing who they want. And again, I've said this before, and it's pretty obvious now, but it's a youth movement, which is, again, I don't understand the game plan from the beginning with Matthew Judon then. Because if you didn't want to pay him because of the age or the mileage or whatever, then what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you playing these games? In terms of these other players, especially Richard Seymour specifically on this list, that was a guy who was dominant. I mean, what the hell else did you need to see from Richard Seymour to tell you to pay him the money? But you make a great point. Bill Belichick ran a different ship. If you're Elliott Wolf and you're Drake Maye and you're changing the culture, and it's all about the player, and we want you to be open and feelings, and everyone loves each other here. Great. Then you should be passing out these contracts, which they are, but you should also have a clear line of demarcation. If you are over the age of whatever it is, which right now feels like 30, 31, you ain't getting paid in New England. If that's a culture you want to build, fine. Then you should have let Matthew Judon be upset, tell him it is what it is, and you either trade him or you sit out and we fine your butt. Yeah, you make up your mind. What do you want? And I guarantee you he's saying, get me out of here and get me to a place where I can play and get paid. Great. Then you're trading him before all this happens. The value's a little bit better. Because now, what do you think teams around the league are watching? They're watching this drama like Days of Our Lives. And now you're going to pick up the phone if you're Elliott Wolf and say, hey, would you like Matthew Judon? He's a great pass rusher. He's like, yeah, and a pain in the ass. No thanks. And hang up on you. Or they're going to say a 6th-round pick, take it or leave it. Now you're screwed. The Patriots screwed this up.
I was about to say Hunter Henry got extended, but he's 29. He's just been in the league forever. He's younger than me.
Damn, he's 29?
He's younger than me.
He's been in the league.
29.
Well, he's just been around.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess from rookie on, like we feel like he's been around a long time.
I would just like to end with this. I don't want to hear Matt Judon lie again about someone else running his Twitter.
Why?
No, they haven't, but it makes me look bad again. Don't
That's
believe
his
lies.
words.
That's him.
That's him.
They tweet just like him, and that's always his fallback, and that's fine. Like, yeah, tell a white lie just to avoid the truth. Like, you don't have to care, like, giving me the truth. You don't owe me the truth, Matt Judon, but just, I know it's a lie. And that's fine if you tweet it out yourself because we love it. All right, I know this is also the biggest story. So it's become drama, and it's become a distraction because Judon allowed it when he showed up. But this is the biggest story. The second biggest one now, and what's wild to me is the evolution of the opinion and expectations of Drake Maye over 6 practices. Because day one, I was there, and he let loose on a frozen rope to Jalen Reagor down the right sideline, 40-yard touchdown, and a pass I have not seen come from a Patriot quarterback in 3 years. And
You like the way he stretched.
I do, and I still do. He shows up, he fits in. He's just trying to be a guy and figure out his way as a rookie. Now it's come to people going out and saying, you know, I think that other guy they took in the 6th round is actually going to be better than him. And then Milton wows the crowd every day with his tantalizing arm and standing backflips. I don't care if a guy does backflips. That does not matter in football. And understand with Joe Milton, he is such a project. But we'll get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm going to get on a rant. The worry about Drake Maye, the panic about Drake Maye through 2 padded practices. Now, they were bad. Like, he looked terrible.
Yeah.
Couldn't be in sync, but he's working with a backup offensive line. And Antonio Mafi, who's never at center, who's never played center in college or the pros. Never taken a single snap at center. I looked up the logs. Not a single snap at center. And his first time is in the NFL training camp. Working with the backup receivers. Going against the ones on defense. It's going to be challenging. But for everyone to be panicking and worried about him, Drake Maye was always a long-term investment as a prospect. This is a long-term plan from the Patriots. It's not year one, get back to the playoffs, because you have to reset the entire roster, the entire front office, the entire culture. It's going to take a few years to become a serious team. It's going to take 3 years to become playoff contenders. And I wrote this. I pulled up my draft scouting report on Drake Maye. As for Drake Maye out of North Carolina, 6'3", 230 pounds, and mobile. He's received pro comps to Justin Herbert and Josh Allen thanks to his superior arm strength, which allows him to throw to every area of the field while showing poise throwing under pressure. College pressure is different than the NFL. This is where the point I make. He possesses a gunslinger mentality and lacks processing speed. He's been quick to tuck in and run it, even though it's likely been a sack. QB3 for me, out of the 1, 2, 3 guys. Drake Maye is developmental. He may have to sit a year or two for a team that doesn't have a left tackle or wide receivers. May landing in New England would be less than ideal. You know what that last line is, Trav? Him landing in New England would be less than ideal because it's not just him. It's the situation. Caden Wallace at left tackle was not your plan A. It was Chooks Okorafor. No matter what Elliot Wolf wants to say to us. You don't have a wide receiver one. You're learning a new offensive system. It's all about timing. It's all about being on the same page. It's all about being on schedule. Don't worry about Drake Maye right now. If it's the same stuff a month from now, the same exact stuff where he just looks lost, then be worried. But let's get to preseason games. Pump the brakes for the panic. And stop with the Joe Milton might be QB2 on this roster. He won't. You know what my worry is, actually? I don't know who their backup quarterback is. Because if Drake Maye looks this bad and the offensive line looks this bad and Jacoby Brissett goes down week 2, Joe Milton out there, it's going to be terrible.
Bailey Zappi.
And you know what you're doing? You're leaving out the rest of the roster to dry. I don't know if Bailey Zappi could get the job done. And I don't want to risk Drake Maye.
Well, we know. Yes, you do. You know Bailey Zappi can't get the job done.
I don't want to risk Drake Maye.
No, I'm saying you know Bailey Zappi can't get the job done. But for what you're saying, sounds like you just need a sacrificial lamb. You don't need a QB1. You need Jacoby Brissett, and if he goes down, you trot out Bailey Zappi. I look at this all. I'm certainly nowhere near. No, I'm not even in the same room as the panic button. Okay? I'm in the relax everybody room. I'm in a spa about Drake Maye. I am not worried about any of this. This is all the stuff you just read, your scouting report. This is all stuff we already knew. We already knew there was processing concerns. We already knew footwork needed work. We already knew he had to learn how to take snaps under center. We already knew all this stuff. But again, I continue, one of the reasons I'm in the spa room and not the panic room, I continue to go by what thine eyes saw from Drake Maye in Chapel Hill because I watched a ton of them. He didn't have a line there either. He didn't have receivers there either. And he still was balling. He still overcame all that. Now, 1 year was better to the next. I'll give you that. It was a little inconsistent. But did you hear what I said? He had nothing. And this kid wasn't at Alabama. This kid wasn't at Ohio State. He wasn't at Texas. He was at a basketball school with nothing around him. And he still was third overall in the NFL based on what? Potential, talent, God-given abilities. All this nonsense we're doing in the media right now, these couple of practices
Don't say we, it's one.
These couple of practices where he's looked like trash, minor setback to a major comeback. I'm actually glad that this is happening now and everyone's freaking out. Because guess what's going to happen? He's going to get better. That's what's going to happen. Preseason, to your point, he'll get in. He's going to make plays because he's a great athlete. He's going to make some throws where you're like, oh, wow, that's a Drake Maye. Yeah, no Shaq, Sherlock. This kid, I think, will be just fine and will be starting sooner than later. I personally still want him in on week 1. But I know no one else feels that way. And guess what I'm not going to do? Change how I feel. This kid's going to be just fine. I'm nowhere near the panic button. Everyone just pump your brakes and let Drake Maye develop because we knew that coming in that the kid needed it. We disagree on how long, but we certainly knew.
It's patience with him.
Yes.
And the patience will pay off.
Yes.
And your patience doesn't have to be 2 years from now or a year from now.
That's
because
right.
I'm on board with him playing this year.
You are.
Offensive line has to be in check. Receivers have to be in check. But for anyone to go out and say, man, you know what? Drake Maye looks so bad, I think I'd take Joe Milton over them. That's just dumb. That's just naive. Joe Milton couldn't get the job done at Michigan. He couldn't get the job done at Tennessee. Right. Yes, he's a sick athlete. I've watched the standing backflips that he's done.
Yeah.
Doesn't need a running start, nothing. Just does a standing backflip, no problem, catches his helmet as it falls off. Sick athlete. He can throw the ball forever. But it's about being a great NFL quarterback or a serviceable, reliable NFL quarterback. That's Jacoby Brissett right now. That will be Drake Maye one day. Just relax.
Yeah.
Because you know what, Patriots fans? And it sucks. I have to break the news to you guys. You're not going to be a playoff team this year. You're most likely not going to be a playoff team next year. Year 3. That's what it is for this front office, for this head coach, for this quarterback. That's when you want to see actual, tangible progress, and a step forward back into the playoffs. I can't underwrite enough. We opened the show talking about him. How bad of a spot Bill Belichick left this franchise in. Offensively everywhere. Culturally with the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a huge task for Elliott Wolf, for Gerard Mayo, for Gerard Mayo's staff, for the guys he kept, for Alex Van Pelt, first-time play caller in the NFL.
Yep.
That's not easy. Kevin Stefanski is viewed as one of the best head coaches in the NFL. He's offensive-minded.
I think he's
underrated. He ran
underrated.
that show.
Yep.
Yeah, he's great. AVP was his OC, but didn't call the plays. Now he's doing that, right?
Right.
TC McCartney, you're bringing Ben McAdoo down. The stank on that, I can't get over. But it is such a big lift by everyone on this staff. And after 2 padded practices, if you were going to panic about Drake Maye, relax.
Right.
Go watch, and you go look at the box score. It's a lot of numbers. It's gaudy. He lit it up. But go watch Patrick Mahomes in his first start all over the place. Jordan Love, spot start, COVID, Aaron Rodgers out, looked like crap.
Yeah.
He just got paid.
Peyton Manning's whole rookie season wasn't great. He broke the record for interception.
CJ Stroud looked like trash in
Yeah,
the
he
preseason.
did. Yes,
and
he
look at him
did.
now.
Yes, he
We're
did.
talking about, is he the next GOAT?
That's
Which
right.
he could be.
Yeah.
Relax.
Patriots had him seeing ghost in the preseason, I remember. I remember watching Texans Patriots preseason last year and being like, this kid stinks. Wrong. No, look, he's going to be fine. Just give him some time. Like, for me, camp, preseason, he'll be ready by week 1. Don't worry about it.
I think he's a long way from week 1. Footwork, what I've seen, and this offensive line again. Now, they did come out and win the first day in full pads, and like Caden Wallace showed flashes and one-on-ones and what can make him great. But it's going to take time and need the 5 guys up front to play as one, as if all 5 of them have the same mind. Like, that's the key to offensive line play. They have the versatility. We know what Onwenu can do. Left guard, right tackle. He can do that. We know City So can flip either side of guard. Caden Wallace and Chuks Okorafor, for better or for worse, have played both sides of tackle. So you have the versatility up front. It's piecing it all together, and we'll see what Cole Strange is once he comes back. Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. Javon Baker's ahead of schedule, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to take a year for me to see dividends from him. No. He's looked great in camp. Jalen Polk right now is their wide receiver 1. I don't hate saying that.
He's looked the best.
Reliable pass catcher.
Yep.
Javon Baker's more of that flash guy.
Yep.
But they can carry a receiving room for a certain amount of time. Eventually, you need that big upgrade or they're taking a huge leap.
Yeah.
You have the veterans at tight end and Hunter Henry and then Austin Hooper, who's played in the system. You brought Ramondre Stevenson back. Personnel-wise, they're in a somewhat better spot. But they were rock bottom last year. So to go from 0, only way to go is up.
Yeah, maybe
So it's not hard.
Even if it's just one slot, just get up one slot. Don't be dead last. Just come up a little bit. I mean, listen, I agree with you, but it's also what you're saying is one of the reasons why I do have patience with Drake Maye to a certain extent, but my timeline's different than yours because I want to see him in there sooner than later because I believe he can provide a spark to this offense with all these young players. I want them to develop together just the same way once we saw Jordan Love get in with those young receivers. He did have growing pains. He did not look good immediately. And over time, he looked better. Why? They grew together. This is why I don't want to wait for a year on Drake Maye. At some point, and we can argue till the cows come home about when, but at some point he has to get in there so he can develop with these young weapons.
It took Jordan Love 3 years of waiting. It took Packers fans 3 years
I'm
of
saying
waiting.
once he started playing.
Right, no,
Once he
I
got
get
on the
that.
field, it
But
still took him a while to gel with the young guys.
Think of how much he struggled with 3 years
Right.
of sitting back
Facts.
and learning still.
Well, I
And
will
again-
say this. Drake Maye's further along in his development coming out of
As a
college.
prospect, 1,000%. No, 1,000%.
So Jordan Love's starting point was lower.
If you want to be happy 5 years from now, Trav, the patience now will pay off.
That's fair. I don't disagree with that.
Cool.
I just feel as though we don't have to. I don't think playing him this year screws 5 years from now. That's where we disagree.
But it can if it's too soon and that offensive line's ready, and he's just not ready because he could regress back. It takes a lot to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So playing now, it's all about when, how ready. The kid doesn't lack confidence.
Right.
But he's still working on his mechanics. He's still working on his fundamentals.
And you don't want to get him crushed.
And you don't want to revert that, and you don't want to get him
Physically,
killed.
yeah.
We saw it happen with
Right,
Mac Jones.
right.
We saw it happen with him. So if you bring him in too soon now,
Right.
yes, it can mess up 5 years
Yeah,
from now. And then the Pats are in the same place in 4. This was supposed to, Foxborough Rush would save the Patriots talk for. This is all Pats, this one.
Hey, it's football season.
I know. I love it.
Let's just call it what it is. Once camp starts, that's football season.
Where are we again?
It's on.
Where are we? Boston.
Yeah.
New England. They love their football here.
Right.
So I know they love it on Boston.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This is Boston Has Entered the Chat in the PNC Bank studio. Like, subscribe, rate, review. Email us, thechat@nesson.com. And make sure to follow us on all social platforms. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making us a part of your day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.